Hi, this is Lisa from Punk Creation and welcome back. I've been asked to make a fairy house for a friend's daughter, and I thought I would put the camera on and take you guys along with me. It's freezing cold and tipping down with rain outside, so what better way to spend a Sunday? So I thought I would take this opportunity to start with the basics of Powertex and making projects, and turning beautiful bits of fabric and lace and embellishments into a project, into a usable item. And I'm going to show you how I do my fairy houses. I've got my inspiration for these from another Powertex tutor called Cora Sage, and she's amazing, and you can find her work on YouTube but also on Pinterest, so nip over there and have a look. So we've got a jar here. I've already put some tape around it so that the Powertex has something to adhere to. I've got some bits of lace, some t-shirt fabric, some cotton. I've got some stockinette, which is stretchy. I've got the fairy door. Now this you can purchase from the Powertex website. They come in packs of 4 or 5, I believe. Okay, just a couple of pounds, and they're brilliant. They're cast, they're plaster cast. They're probably, let's have a look. Yeah, about 7 or 8 mil thick. I've also got some roses and some daisies here that I cast myself, okay, and then just some cute little embellishments that I'm going to put on. With this fairy house, I am going to be using different types of fabric and just letting the fabric do the talking. I'm not going to fill this with embellishments as it is for a little girl, okay. So the first thing we do, after we've covered the jar in just a little bit of tape, so that, as I said, so the Powertex has something to adhere to, we're going to make the roof for the fairy house. Now, a lot of fairy houses, they just stick the jar down, but as this is for a little girl, I'm keeping it so that the lid can come off and she can put her things inside. Okay, so what we do, and I've done this off camera just because foil on camera sounds awful. I've bunched up some foil. Now this one I've done so this can go on the base of the lid like that. And then this one attaches to the top of there like so. And as you can see, if I put it on the camera like that, you can see the shape of it. So it's a bit like a handle of an umbrella. Okay, so I'm going to just pop some tape around there to hold those together. And I use just masking tape for this. You don't need anything special, just masking tape or okay, just stick that round just to stick those two pieces together. And also I go up there just so that again, the Powertex has something to adhere to. It doesn't like foil very much. So I've got the basic shape. Let me just pop that on there for you so you can see. Okay. Now what I need to do is adhere this to the jar. So I'm going to do it just to the side here and then just bring it over to the front of the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. So there we go, if you can see that. Looks pretty strange at the moment, doesn't it? And then I'm just going to build this up with tape just to make sure that it's completely stuck onto that lid and doesn't move. Okay, so I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. So I've finished the roof of the fairy house. Okay, I added a bit more foil just to bulk out the middle bit here. If I twist it, okay, and then I've kind of bent it into a weird shape. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to start applying our Powertex. So gloves on. As you probably know by now, you don't need to wear gloves, but with this constant use of hand gel, my hands are dry as a bone and the Powertex gets into my skin. So a bit of Powertex on here, give it a good shake. I use the bronze one for this. Okay, so Powertex Universal Medium in bronze. I did give it a good shake off air, see. Okay, so we're going to pour some onto my plastic tray. These plastic trays are great because obviously they're reusable. I get them in the range. They're 99p, and as soon as you've done using them, the Powertex just washes straight off. So they are fab for this, absolutely fab. So what we're going to do, make sure you can see this. Let's prop this up so it doesn't roll away. So we're going to start by putting some Powertex onto the jar. Now what I've done ahead of time is just cut the fabric down into smaller pieces. So I'm just going to, this is still a little bit too big, so I'm just going to cut it again. So into the Powertex, okay, and then we are going to squeeze off any excess Powertex. All right, you want the fabric to be covered but not saturated. Okay. If the Powertex, if the fabric is too wet, the Powertex will take longer to dry, and you could end up with sort of drip marks. Now, what I like to do is just take excess Powertex off of one piece of fabric with another. Squeeze it in my hand, rub them together. Now, if you follow me on YouTube, you would have seen me do this with the journal I made, the rainbow journal lockdown, and also my mirror. I think I went through that in quite good detail as well in terms of how we get to this stage, or how we get to the decorating projects with fabric stage. So as you can see, it's got the fabric, it's got the Powertex on it, but it's not saturated, it's not dripping wet. So then we are going to put this onto the jar. Okay, I'm going to just scrumple up the corners just a little bit, just to create texture. And as you can see, I've got some wrinkles in the fabric there. Okay. Same again at the top here. So obviously this piece of fabric has already got quite a bit of Powertex on it, so we just need to put a little bit more on there, but we can use our fingers to do that so that it doesn't get too saturated, too wet. Okay, we don't want to see any of the grey through the Powertex, because that would mean that the fabric wasn't completely covered. Random bit of thread there, don't want that. Okay, so there we go, so that's that bit, and we're just going to do exactly the same. We're just going to pop it on there. Okay, scrunch a little bit to create texture. Okay, I am going to do the rest of this jar, and I'm going to do the lid. I don't want to bore you, but I wanted to just show you the basics of how we get the fabric actually onto our project. Okay, so once I've covered the whole thing in fabric, I shall come back and do the last little bit, just so that you're not sat around waiting for me to do the whole project. See you in a bit. Hi, so it's been a couple of days and I've finished the fairy house as it is, okay, and now I'm going to be painting it with the Easy Varnish and the colours from the Secret Art Loft at Powertex. So I'm just going to show you the base and then the roof. Okay, so this is the base. So you've got the door here on some corrugated cardboard, and then I've used sand and balls again for texture around the jar. I've used lace on here, lots of different types of fabrics, some thicker cotton, some netting, some stockinette. This is a wooden window, that's from the Powertex website. And then up here I've used a bit of hessian around the rim of the jar, and then I've popped a button just where it joins, where the two bits of hessian joins, a piece of chain, and then I've got a wooden key and a wooden lock, which I've left. They've got Powertex on them, but I've left them loose. They were quite cute loose. Okay, so that's the base, and then I have the roof here. Just move my headphones out of the way. Okay, so this is the roof. It's still, I've just popped a little bit more Powertex there. It's a little bit soft, so I will probably paint the roof tomorrow. So again, we've got lace here, we've got netting, bits of stockinette, sand and balls, the power cotton. Again, that's available from the website, the powertex.co.uk. So yeah, that's the roof. So it goes on, that's where you can see it better on its side. There we go, like that. So let's paint that one together now. Just been joined by Whisper, so if you hear or if you see him jumping on anything, he normally jumps on the shelf and everything goes fine. Right, so I'm using this Easy Varnish from Powertex. Okay, and I've popped some on my cling film there. Have my kitchen towel at the ready. Now, my customer has asked me to do the fairy house in pinks and purples. Okay, so I thought I would blend the two colours together. I might even start the bottom with a little bit of green going into purple, going into pink. So what I'm going to do, so into the varnish, okay, into the green, onto the cling film, okay. I'm using a Powertex brush, which is quite flat, although this one's quite old, so I do need to purchase another one. Okay, it's a little bit wet, you don't want it translucent like that. So let's pop a bit more on there, getting to the end of my pot of that tester. So on the Powertex website you can purchase these colours, and you can purchase them in sort of tester pots, and they come in sort of a variety of colours. And it's great because if you like that colour, you can then purchase them in the bigger one, okay? So we're going to wipe our excess off on our kitchen roll. And then keeping your brush flat, we're then going to start painting onto the project, okay? And you can see I'm keeping the brush relatively flat. You don't want to go in like that because you don't want to get paint in all the nooks and crannies. You want it to kind of highlight where the fabric comes up and picks up that texture. Okay, so you keep the brush relatively flat. So that'd be quite nice to do it. Start off with the green at the bottom. I will be blending that in with probably just a bit of pink and a bit of purple there. See how much a little bit goes a long, long way. Haven't re-dipped yet either. Still got loads on my brush. This technique is called dry brushing. You don't go in heavy-handed. It's better to add lots of colour in stages than to go in heavy-handed with a very thick paint. Okay, now I'm not going to rinse my brush off. I'm going to leave it as it is. And then I think, what colour's going to go best with the green? Yeah, I think I'm going to go pink. So I'm using this colour called Pink Flamingo. Look how vibrant and bright that one is. So into the varnish, into the colour, onto the cling film. It was quite muddy, but as I'm just blending it into the green, I want a gradual colour change. Get it absolutely everywhere. Excess off on my cloth there. And again, keeping my brush flat and keeping it very, very light in my hand. We go up and we're slightly going over to go over some of that green there because I've spilt some of the powder on it. Schoolboy error that was, gosh. Okay. So there we go, there is a mistake that I've made and I've had to rectify it. Keep the brush relatively flat and just add colour little and often. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of pink just down here, just to start blending it. And once it's gone over the green, as you can see, it doesn't look particularly pink anymore. Oops, lost the end of my brush. Messiest crafter in the world, so I'm just getting rid of some of that before it goes everywhere. Now, because this has been on the cling film and has dried a little bit, I don't have to wipe off the excess on there. Okay, so we're just going to go straight in with that hot pink around that rim there. And I almost use the flicking technique once I've done the base layer. You can see it's bringing out all this detail here of the lace. So what I'm going to do, so this doesn't bore you and go on forever and ever, I'm just going to blend in a bit of the purple around the top, just so you can see how I do it, and then I shall go off camera and do the rest off camera, so you're not pulling your hair out with boredom. Can you see there how it's blended, the pink and the purple together on the cling film? There's a little bit of green there too, which is great. So pop the lid on there. Excess onto my paper, and then we're just going to go around the top of this so that it can blend nicely into the roof. Now I've got a wonderful colour here called Terra Violet, and it's going to blend beautifully with the green and the purple on this jar. It also help lift it as well. I don't want it to be too dark, because this is for a little girl. This isn't for sort of some gothic thing I've got going on. Right, so I'm going to do the rest off camera so I don't bore you to death, and I shall start recording again when I have finished with the roof, or if I'm going onto the roof, and then we can catch up a bit later. Ciao for now. So I said I said I would come back when I'd done the roof. However, I'm just using some of this Terra Violet. Let me pop the lid on so that I can show it to you. Okay, so it's Colourtrix Terra Violet. And it just really brings these colours to life. And it looked amazing, so I just wanted to show you. So I'm just blending in exactly the same way as the other ones. I know that's a little bit off screen there. Taking the excess off on the paper, and I'm just going over it very lightly, and you can see how it brings out the texture in that lace and just catches the top of those sand and boars. Can you see there? Just here how it brings out the texture. So very lightly, no pressure on my brush, no pressure. Just really lightly, just going over the top. As you can see, this is just little and often, and lots of fine little layers. It's not going on heavy-handed. There's very little paint on this brush, as you can see. Just going to get under there though, there's nothing under there. So there's the door. See how the textures come to life by using these different colours. Obviously my customer wanted these specific colours, so if you don't like pinks and purples, then use a colour that you prefer. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to change my brush, and I'm going to use a bit of this Power Pearl. Now this is pearly white. I need to find a bit of cling film that I haven't got pink powder on. I've made a right old mess today with this. Okay. What to do is just go over the flower there, just to really brighten that up. Is that coming across on the screen, on the camera? Yeah, I think it must be. And then just to go over some of these sand and boars, pick up the texture underneath the window there. I don't want it to look stripy. Sometimes the colour can look, sometimes I get it very wrong and it can look quite stripy where I haven't had the brush horizontal enough. Okay. Hello, Whisper. Whisper's come back to join us. It's tipping down with rain outside, so he's chickened out of going outside back to the house. Really pretty. So I'm going to leave it, I am going to leave it there now, because when I put the roof on, the colours need to blend properly, and if I carry on without the roof being completely dry, it's not going to blend. Okay, so it's going to go like that. For some reason I always have the curve of my roof going to the right of the door. Don't know why. So I'm going to start off with a purple colour on the roof and then probably blend in some terra violet near the point here and perhaps go a little bit pinky towards the middle. But this isn't completely dry, so I don't want to do anything until it's completely dry. So again, ciao for now. Hi, so it's the morning after the night before and I've finished the fairy house for my customer. I've done the roof exactly the same way as I did the actual jar. I don't know the best way to show you, probably on its sides you can see it. So I blended the purple in with the hot pink and then I added some of the green and then I added some of the power pearl as well. Okay, I've stuck on the bottom some cardstock with a die cut of a flower there, and then on the inside of the jar, I just take the lid off, I've popped a little die cut in there too. So that's all finished, that's ready to go to my customer. I love making these. These are really good fun, especially for Christmas. And they're great for kids. They're great for putting in your garden. You don't have to have it so that you can take the lid off. You could just fabric all the way around the lid so that you can't remove it. And then it's just one stable piece that can go into your garden. Powertex is weatherproof after 3 weeks, so once you've finished it, let it go completely cured, and then you can pop it outside. Thank you so much for supporting my YouTube channel and following all of my Powertex projects and my work. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe. And don't forget to press that notification bell to receive all of my Powertex or journaling projects. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.